Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sharing a Drink with Matt, the album review. Today I'm talking to none other but Brisbane's favourite punk band, Kathleen Turner Overdrive.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, great. Good. I just I've got a funny little mic. I'll show you. So we bought this for video interviews, but I only plugged it in as the thing. The video window popped up. Good. So
I've got a funny little mic. The missus hates it. No, sorry. That was a stupid joke.
I missed it.
Oh, so no, I missed it too. Dan!
All right, cool. Well, we're good. I'll just put the mic here. So
Is that Lizzie at the back
Yes,
there,
yeah.
is it?
Okay. What's it, mate?
Is that Lizzie at the... Yeah, she is.
It is. Yeah. So we're Sans, Dan and Aiden. Dan's got his new lady friend over home, and Ad's being away for a month, he's really keen to sort of catch up with the family.
Yeah.
So he's out of commission, but we're here.
Hello.
Excellent.
Sorry about the lighting.
Have you been good?
Oh, good. Yeah, I think I'm still catching up, fatigue wise. Yeah, so you're pretty tired, but otherwise good. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard the bright side went off.
It was good fun. Yeah. Both the Tugs and Forklift Assassins, were fantastic. Who else was there? There was us on the door, obviously.
Yeah.
It was just it? Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. It was supposed to be before. But yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was good fun. So we had a good time, and the forklifts, they just go off. They are fantastic, and so too the Tugs. They just
Brilliant, aren't they?
yeah, so good fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
all good.
So the name for the new tunes, who thought of that?
Oh, the title?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Lizzie's call, Control Alt Delete.
Because it's a line from one of the songs in Robot Girl. So I just thought it was pretty appropriate to take a line from the song, and it's kind of a bit of a reset as well, because it's a bit different to Autosomal, the EP we did before. So it just seemed to work.
Yep. Excellent. Did you go into the studio any differently this time, or?
Yeah. Well, I think that's driven by two things. I guess each time for any band, you learn more from each session as you go into the next one. But it's also the producer. So we went from Adam Merker of Anders de Beers studios up in Palanga, in North Brisbane, and his approach was very different to that of Steve James, who's over at is it Redcliffe? No, he's the studio.
Red Engine Studios?
Red Engine, yeah. Red Zed's is another studio from years ago. So they both had very different approaches, and both of them, I think, are equally, they have equal merit. But Adam's a lot more hands-on. So with the first EP, he had really, as he heard the songs, he had really clear ideas about what he heard in the songs around melody that was maybe missing, and so he helped reshape some, especially the vocals, but it would also bass and guitar. He really, I think the only one that got out of it relatively unscathed was Danny. So with his drums, he had his drum lines down pat, and he just 2 or 3 takes, and he was good. So, but yeah, Adam shaped the vocals and the rest of it. Steve was a little bit more hands off, a bit more like, these are your songs, but he still provided lots of guidance and technical expertise. And where something didn't work, he certainly said so. And great experience with him from my point of view was the double tracking of guitars. So every song on Control Alt Delete was played with 2 different guitars. So he had a nice telly, and he had something else.
Yeah. So I heard you lost a member.
But more, it was a bit more. We have, yeah. Nathan Murphy. He's the driving force behind Tony Hawk.
Okay.
And he's gone back to focus on Tony Hawk.
Oh, sorry,
he was on the album, but yeah.
No.
Nathan joined us in about February this year. We'd already done all our recording. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has other projects on the boil: Tawny Hawk, Arto Perpetuo, Moto Perpetuo, and he has a solo as well. He lives in Brisbane. We live in Toowoomba. Yeah, it's been a bit tricky. Yeah. So this was a good time to part ways, really. Straight after the tour was fun.
Yeah, and certainly no hard feelings. He's a great guy, and I haven't talked to him about it yet. But like if we get into a pickle where we don't have a bass player at all and we need to do a full gig, he knows all the songs. So I'll see if he's keen to do the guitar work, and I'll jump on bass. I hate getting gigs and then letting people down. So we'll even do it as a 3-piece with just drum and bass or drum and guitar, as we did yesterday. We played at a friend's wedding, and we were part of a 10-band lineup, and we didn't have a bass player, so just I played guitar, and it worked well. Yeah, so it always feels better when it's the full band, but we wouldn't let anyone down. So yeah. But back to the recording, and just quickly, because I don't want to talk under cement. I am, and I can. No, just to say, it was a really different experience with Steve, but we were really, really proud of the final product. So we, not unhappy at all. It was great recording. So, what did you think of it? Have you got any favourites?
Excellent. I actually, to be quite honest, I like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right answer, Matt.
Right
answer.
Not a good answer.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm sure we have. Do you have a favourite?
Robot Girl.
Robot Girl. Yeah. Robot Girl's a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you want to talk about Robot Girl? Robot Girl?
Oh, Robot Girl. Yeah. So we've got the 2 songs that are like the flip side of each other, the A and B if we had singles, Girlzilla and Robot Girl. So Girlzilla is the approach of, when I think about my daughter's generation of young women who just don't take any crap. They're totally different to myself when I was their age, where it was more, if I was going to get ahead, I had to just nod and smile a lot of the time, hate it, but nod and smile to get along, whereas they just won't take any shit. So Girlzilla is the sort of tune that's celebrating their fierceness, and Robot Girl is kind of lamenting the shit that's been with regards to gender double standards, and just saying it's time to change all that shit for oldies like us. Yeah.
So how long have you been playing these songs live?
Well, we were playing, both of those songs were written new and for the EP.
So about a year, I guess.
Yeah, up to date. Yeah, about a year. Yeah. So we'd been maybe even a bit longer, because I remember we started the conversations with Steve in about July last year, and it took a while for the thing to get momentum, but we were playing Robot Girl then too. So
we'll say 18 months.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what else. Yeah. Oh, and I've got a favourite from that. Actually, that's probably on a different EP. I was going to say Lifestyles. Lifestyles is the original favourite. It's that on the previous EP, isn't it? Yeah. So there you go. So my favourite song's on a whole other EP.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But yeah.
I like Stalker as well.
Do an agreement on that one.
Yeah, I like that one as well.
Yeah. So who wrote the songs? Did you all have a battle? Or?
Well, the way it works is that I generally write the songs and come up with the melodies, but sometimes one of the guys will come up with a melody and throw that at me, and I'll write to it. Or as in Girlzilla, Mark started writing that, and then we got together with it. I think that was based around a riff that Dan came up with on guitar. Yeah, but that's most of the time I come up with the melody and the lyrics, and we take it and then throw it at them, and then they do the magic from there.
And then there's an intervening step there, and that's when Lizzie comes along with the words and the melody that sort of formed around that. We'll sit down and just work it out on an acoustic guitar, what the actual notes and what the melody is and what the structure is, and then we'll put some chords against it, and then take it, and then often I'll record it on GarageBand just to have something to show the guys. But then it'll usually end up sounding different to that once we've all collaborated. Yeah. That's the big thing, we collaborate in the practice room.
With one of our songs, the last song on the EP, it's called I'm Not Changing. That's actually a song that was gifted to us. Like, you know, the story that I found out that I had 4 half brothers, and one of those one of those is a muso as well, and has been for a really long time out in Cunnamulla. And he gifted us that song, and then it was much slower when he gave it to us, and we make everything faster. But essentially, it's like a really a Ramone-esque kind of song, and we love the Ramones, so there's a bit of a homage to them in there with that song, and it's lovely that he was able to give us that song and that we can play it.
Yeah, that's great.
Marto.
Yeah, Marto. Thanks, Marto.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent. I like stories like that.
Yeah.
And we met him there about 18 months ago, and really top guy.
I've only met him once. If you want to see him, check out the documentary called Cunnamulla. He's in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's very well worth.
He played the big role in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my 16-year-old's having a spit. God.
Well, that's the joys of being 16, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, the joys of being a father of a 16-year-old.
Oh, no joy at all, mate.
No joy at all.
I remember there was no joy.
She was she's the second last of the girls to reach 16. We've got one more who's starting to act like a 16-year-old now, and she's only 14 anyway. Not talking about my horrible life. No, sorry.
I'm sure it's not a horrible life.
It's not. I love my kid.
Yeah. And we were lucky too to be in your part of the world there last week down in Wollongong. Bloody gorgeous place. I've never been to the Gong, and I was really surprised. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like
beautiful.
When we first moved here, it was like we moved into this house, and I went for a walk just to check the place out, and 5 minutes of walking, I ended up on the beach.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, I didn't even know there was a beach.
Yeah. It's really picturesque, lovely place, wide streets.
Yeah.
Loved it. Clear air.
Yeah, so we were lucky. It was really good weather, except there was one night where it absolutely bucketed down. But a beautiful place here. Very lucky.
Nice to meet you too, down in Sydney. Lovely to meet you at last.
And Jeff, hey Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. Jeff.
Yeah, it was a real
pleasure. I found it totally different to your other offerings, and it was I don't know. It was like, where'd that come from? Like,
well, that's good, because it's part of the evolution, I think, and the confidence growing together and creating music together and feeling more comfortable in your skin to explore a bit further, rather than stick with what you start with that you're semi-confident with. It's just about confidence and moving forward and trying new things. And I think it's come down to that.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's evolving, No one wants to hear the same,
No.
Like, it's good each album, you up the ante kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that's why what you guys have done with this one, I think, compared to the last one, I think is you've just aged.
Yeah. Well,
like a fine wine.
Yeah, like Oh, thanks, man. I mean, that's nice. We there's a couple of the songs where we even managed to sort of chuck in a bit of sort of syncopation. So, we had the song we we're talking about before, I'm Not Changing, where it goes a couple of times to a bit of a ska or reggae sort of beat with ska, I guess. And then in Robot Girl as well, it's got, its verses where it goes choppy, and it's got the choppy upstrokes and the beat changes. And Danny's playing these really lovely triplets. So, I think the thing about songwriting is, we consider ourselves songwriters and don't want to sound like pretentious dickheads, but you don't you want to be proud of what you write. You want it to stand up as having artistic merit as well as saying something. So
Exactly.
not only do we feel that the songs have got something to say, but we think they're good songs as works of art. Again, don't want to sound like a dickhead, but so yeah, and then part of that is about the songwriting process and how it matures. So we've really enjoyed that.
Not on this album, but probably maybe the next one you did. Did you have any did you write any songs or anything on in Canada and Costa Rica? Like, is there any songs coming up influenced by that?
Possibly. Yeah.
That would have been great. That would have been the time of your life.
I've written a bunch of lyrics, so I've got to sit down with them now and sort of think about tunes and give them to Lizzie and see what she thinks, and look at how they can be added to or subtracted from. Yeah, so for me, they're not the finished product by any stretch. They're just 5 bunches of lyrics that could. Well, it might even be that none of them make the grade in terms of a KTO song, but I was inspired there on one occasion to sit down and do some writing. I got into the zone and just kept going. Yeah, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it results in a lot of word vomit. But you don't know until you sit down and look at it sort of a few days or weeks later, and think objectively about whether it's any good and how you can make it better if it's not so good, or improve it even further. Yeah. So
on the new album, is there any songs that you had to think once or twice or 3 times whether putting it in or not?
Not for me.
So, no. I'm trying to think of the tracks on this. It's a 5-track EP this time around. So what's on there? Girlzilla, Robot Girl, Stalker. I'm Not Changing. Sycophant City. Yeah. Sycophant City. Yeah.
Maybe that one.
Maybe. It's a funny song because it's again, it's not really a hardcore punk song. It's not really, in terms of how you'd put it into a genre. It's got a funny sort of slightly swingy feel, without being heavy, like being a swing song. And it's also, but in terms of content, it's about cliques. People sort of operate in little cliques, and the snobbery and the elitism that sort of comes out of that. We see it everywhere. It's even in our scene. We've seen it. No one's sort of. I don't really think anyone's so crash hot that they can, sort of put shit on other people in any way, shape, or form, and expect to be taken seriously. And
that song's old.
Yeah,
we've been playing that song for years and years and years. And we actually didn't even consider it for the EP, but Steve James asked us to play him. I think it was like 10 songs. He said, we did a video conference with him, and he said, play me 10 songs. So he went, oh, okay. And we threw that one in there, and it was the last song we thought that he would pick. And it was the first one he picked, basically. Yeah. Wow. So, and we all, when he picked it, we all went like, what? Really? That song?
Yeah. So, but it's a good song. Yeah. And it's one of those songs that we sometimes go, and when we're working out set lists, do we want to play that? And other times we go, oh, fuck, we haven't played that for a while. And then you get excited about it. So, yeah. But that would have been the only one that we probably thought about.
Yeah. So what was the reception like? What was it like when you just finished the tour and you got back to Brisbane and you played a show. What was the reception like?
All our friends were glad to see us, and everyone was very supportive and nagging us about what happened and to tell them, everything that we did and where we went and what we saw. So yeah, really positive. We were at a wedding yesterday. We played at a wedding, and I'm sick of talking about all the things we did and saw. But yeah, so yeah, really positive.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I swear to God, at the Sydney gig at the Mosh Pit, you were my favourite band of the night.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was great. And sorry, Sean, but Forklift Assassins, they were pretty close as runners up.
They're fun. We enjoy them.
Awesome, absolutely love the Forklifts.
All the bands were good. It was a fun night.
Oh, they were. Master Nate even played well,
I know they got
we love
finished
them.
early, didn't it?
We love watching them play. They're really full of energy and smiles, and I love their songs.
But we didn't get to really see that because they cut their set short. So
they did.
We'll get off that subject.
That's right. There's a whole other topic.
Yeah. So no difference in the way you go into the studio. No different. Like
when we do it again.
Bang.
Again, both the last experiences were so different, weren't they?
Yeah, they were different in that with the first tech that we worked with, Adam, I had the terrifying experience of him suggesting melody changes in choruses and things when we were recording.
Okay.
So I had to unlearn in the booth because what he was suggesting was great. We loved it. So I had to unlearn, which is really hard when you've learned a song a particular way. So he was about that, whereas Steve James, working with me, was about cutting back lyrics and changing words to make them shorter. So there might have been a line, say, that had 6 words in it. He would want you to chop it back to 3, but say exactly the same thing. And that, again, is really hard to unlearn when you've learned the melody with the lilts and whatnot for the words. So they were very different challenges, but at the end of it all, I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I have to do this, but did it. So you step up when you have to. Yeah, so they were 2 very different and scary experiences.
And did you find that ended up being a positive?
Yes, I've taken that now into other songs on stage, just to save breath and to save voice. Don't need to have as many ands and this and buts and what's in your lyrics. You can just pull them out and say the main words. So yeah, thanks Steve for teaching me that.
Good on you.
Very helpful.
And I think for me too, around songwriting, my approach, just I found over the time away, was to try and be a bit more economical with words and not write such long sentences and not such long verses.
Hard to get them around.
So just thinking about that and trying to make it easier for Lizzie and for the rest of us who sing, to not have to be spitting out so many words and them not making sense.
Yeah. So is Toowoomba, do they have a good punk scene, Toowoomba?
Oh, not. It hasn't been. I mean, it's had a great music scene, maybe a bit more in terms of diversity, and in years gone by, it's been not as well. I suppose COVID, sort of fucked everyone up, and now is coming back. Lots and lots of covers bands, so it's hard for original bands to get a foot in the door. We had one venue that closed after a short period of being, probably the only decent original band venue around. But then another one's popped up in the last sort of 6 months or so, and it's a local brewery. And they just love putting on original music. So it's coming back, for sure. And there are a couple of bands in the woodwork up here, like this a band called St. Freud, and they've been around forever. And I never thought of them as punk. I always thought of them as Viking rock, like lots of stamping their feet and loud choruses,
waving their mullets.
Waving their mullets in the air. But they're great. And then there was another band that played at a punk multi-band, like a 4 or 5 band lineup here a few months ago. I just can't remember their name. But anyway, there's not a lot in terms of punk.
They're working on that, Matt. So I'm working with the owner at Mouse Proof Brewery. His name's John. He's an old punk from way back. He's totally on board. So we're starting to get some gigs happening there. We've got a big one coming with Flangy Pennies on the 16th of December. Yeah. And Square Tugs are playing with us there. Unsounded Vice, the Arturos, St. Freud that you mentioned. And Gusset Rats from Lismore, female-fronted punk band in Lismore, are coming up for that, which I love.
Yeah. I lived in Toowoomba for 6 months. I don't know if you know the place, Barrowan.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I'm glad that we were able to play host to you, man. But yes, I'm sure you don't have. Yeah. Great memories of Barrowan. So, I was going to ask you something. Doesn't matter. It'll come back.
Okay. What playing the new songs live? What do you get the most crowd appreciation? What song do you think you get the most out of the new songs?
I'm not changing.
Yeah.
People get into it. They give us the FUs and stamp their feet.
Yeah, that's what you see. And you can sort of talk about, like as you lead into the song, here's a sing-along song, folks. The chorus is really easy. It's just fuck you. And then you'll invariably get people, and they'll be up close and singing out back at you, the chorus line. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. And I suppose some of the other ones, I'm just trying to think, but I've seen people mouthing the words to some of the songs that I didn't expect. So it's always nice when you know that people have actually listened to them and know what they're then listening to when you're playing them live, and they can sing along with them. Yeah. But yes, certainly I'm not changing. It's probably the most fun one to do that too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I saw this thing on YouTube the other day. I can't remember the singer's name, but he has Tourette's, and he was in the middle of one of his songs and started, and he couldn't finish, and the crowd finished the song for him.
Oh wow!
Bless them.
Yeah, awesome.
It was like fucking. It was a heartfelt fucking. It was like wow.
Yeah. Oh, good on him, because it would have been a difficult thing to deal with on stage, sort of having tics and not being able to control them. So good on them and good on him.
What's in the near future? What's happening with KTO?
Yeah, so we're just hunkering down now after the tour, trying to just find our zen again. We've got a bunch of shows already booked that were booked before we went away, and invitations to play shows have started coming in since we've been back. And we rarely say no to a show. We've got to learn to say no a bit more, I think. But so busy on the horizon with gigs, basically. Yeah, and looking forward to the gigs that we are organising here in Toowoomba. So a big one in December, and then another big one called Invasive Species Day that we're putting together with the manager there on the 27th of January. And we should have Being Jane Lane on the bill, Cosmic Psychos, Gutter Fire, us, Unsounded Vice, the Square Tugs, the Arturos, a whole bunch of bands. It's going to be 12 bands starting at 11 o'clock in the morning and going till 11 in the evening. So
excellent.
Working on that, yeah.
Oh, good. I miss living in Queensland. I grew up in Queensland.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a thriving band scene here.
Yeah, Brisbane punk scene is beautiful. Yeah, it really is.
In any other bands that you were with before this or anything, or even just as a punter, did you guys ever go to the Playroom?
No,
I went as a punter to the Playroom. You and I have talked about this before. Yeah, I used to go there.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Yeah, we have.
I just swallowed half my cigarette then. Yeah. No, just, I reckon that would have been one of the best places for a band to play in. As a Playroom. It's such an iconic area.
Yeah.
So, 5 minute spiel on the new album. Tell us all about it and where we can find it. And
okay, so there's 5 tunes on there, heavily influenced through a bit of social justice there and feminism. Also a bit of fun there because serial killers can be female as well. So listen to Stalker. If you like the Ramones, you'll like our song I'm Not Changing, courtesy of my brother, Marto. You can find it on all of the streaming platforms. We've also got some clips for the tunes on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go check them out, we've made those. Our daughter Scout made the one for Girlzilla. It's brilliant. It features a lot of the strong female lead singers and guitarists and whatnot from Brisbane bands here. So lots of familiar faces on there. So the community got together to help us make that one. Yeah, so give it a listen, please. I want to get Robot Girl's hits up, please. Want to get her over 1,000.
might get it into the 2023 Triple Z Top 100.
I'm hoping so.
I feel like I'm Not Changing can probably be the one to get us across the line and into the Hot 100. And I'm quite frankly to be again, as we thought last year, to be a privilege just to be considered in the
Happy with that.
Yeah, so good luck there. But yeah, there's lots of great songs and lots of great bands in Brisbane doing great stuff at the moment. So it's kind of hard to pick where it'll fall, but there's certainly lots of good bands and acts there that are going to be in the Hot 100.
Like the Disgruntled Taxpayers. You should look them up. That?
Yep, I do.
Good fun. Yeah, love them. Give them a listen.
Yeah.
We played with them yesterday. They're excellent band, excellent guys. Lots of fun. And I want to say thank you to you for doing the interview with us today and letting us share the information about our songs and getting it out there to more people. We appreciate the time you give us.
Thank you for doing it. Like, I'm stoked. When you said yes, I just thought, thank you.
For all your technical wizardry.
Yeah, and it was really lovely to meet you down in Sydney, Jeff, and to meet both of you. But like we've chatted lots of times on video chat, but I don't know that we'd ever even actually seen Jeff, have we? So it was really nice to meet you both face to face. So thanks, guys. Lovely dudes.
What Jeff does with the interviews and everything, he's just a legend. I'm fucking so stoked I've got him in my corner. It's great. Yeah. Anyway, listen, Mark, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, man.
So look us up, folks, KTO.Kathleen Overdrive on Facebook and look us up on Spotify, whatever platform. Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks, man.